What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about the Winnipeg Jets and a possible deal with the St. Louis Blues. This season the Blues have not, had the season they were really hoping for, and therefore a lot of their guys have gone on the block, or at least have been thrown out there, that they're listening to offers on said players, right? We're going to be talking about some of those guys today and who I think could make sense for the Winnipeg Jets, if they were to be interested and to go target these guys. So, without further ado, let's get on into the candidates. First up, we've got the captain for the St. Louis Blues, Brayden Schenn. Through 56 games this season, Schenn has 11 goals, 21 assists for 32 points. And, Schenn isn't going to blow you away with points or anything like that. Really solid point getter, probably between 45 and 55 points per year at this point in his career. And that's pretty typical for a second-line center. I just kind of wonder if Schenn is starting to slow down a bit, not the fastest forward to begin with in his career. Now, is he going to be able to, really be an impactful 2C for a team that's going for it, like the Winnipeg Jets? I'm not really so sure, right? Of course, the Jets do have Adam Lowry. They don't necessarily need to acquire a second-line center, although it would be, very ideal, as you could have Scheifele, insert traded player here, and then Lowry on the third line with Vlad Namestnikov on the fourth line. That would be an elite four down the middle there for the Jets. But is Brayden Schenn that guy for the Jets? I'm going to say no for a couple of reasons. One, he's a cap hit of $6.5 million, which isn't the biggest problem ever. The bigger problem is that we are only on year 5 of 8, so he's going to have 3 seasons left after this year, owing $6.5 million to Brayden Schenn. So, while I really do like Brayden Schenn as a player, and I think he'd be an okay fit here in Winnipeg, I'm not really so sure, the year that you really have to go for it, this is the guy you want centering your second line. I think the Jets can do better here, and I do think the price for Schenn is going to be high as well. I think the Jets can spend their assets elsewhere and probably do better, to be honest with you. I'm not, knocking Schenn or anything like that, but if there's other players available, like I'm going to be talking about in this video, I think assets are, better spent somewhere else. Moving on here to the second player I'm going to be talking about, a guy that the Jets have been linked to for a few seasons now, Colton Parayko, defenseman for the St. Louis Blues. Parayko is a hulking defenseman listed at 6'6", almost 230 pounds, 55 games played this season for the Blues, 29 points. And he's a right shot defenseman, somebody that the Jets have been looking at for a few seasons now. They've been tied to them. I'm just assuming the Blues haven't been, really shopping him too much. I'm sure the Jets have been trying to acquire Parayko for a little while now. I don't think he's necessarily available. Maybe he is for the right price, but with the Blues, making, Schenn and a couple other guys on their roster available, I do wonder if maybe now they see Parayko as a 31-year-old and they say, okay, let's see what we can get for this guy. Parayko's value may never be higher currently, as he's having a pretty good season, almost 30 points through 55 games, as I said before. But not only that, he's playing in the Four Nations face-off right now for Canada, and he's playing really well. He's a part of Canada's most steady pairing right now, and it just happens to be with Winnipeg Jets defenseman Josh Morrissey. Parayko could be a really nice fit here in Winnipeg. He's a nice fit with Morrissey over there in the tournament right now. Why not put these guys together, right? It would be expensive, but if you want to go win a cup, you're going to be paying regardless. Adding a big right-hand shot defenseman, a guy that you've really been looking for since Buff left. I'm not comparing Parayko to Bufflin, just for the record. Not the same player whatsoever. But those two together, I think, could be a really nice, first defense pairing here for the Jets, and then that would allow you to have a lot of flexibility, with the bottom 4 defensemen. You could have Sandberg and DeMello together as your second pairing. You have 2 elite shutdown defensive pairings right there, right? So I think, this would be a great fit. Jets have been looking for some size to add to their back end for a little while now. A big reason that Logan Stanley is still there, despite how miserably bad he is. So adding Parayko, I think, would be a slam dunk ad for the Jets. Now, the one problem that I have with Parayko, the only problem I really have, is his contract. $6.5 million. It's the same as Brayden Schenn. I have less of an issue with the cap hit, just the term is the problem. He's only on year 3 of 8, so, we're not even halfway through the contract yet. It's going to be over when he's 37 years old, currently 31. But I don't have as much of an issue as I do with this contract as I do with Brayden Schenn, because Parayko is a legitimate impact player. At the worst, he's a second pairing right-hand shot D. I don't really see that changing for a long time, right? When he's at the end of this contract, the Jets are going to be bad anyways, more than likely, or, retooling or doing something, right? With the cap going up, the cap isn't as bad of an issue in this, situation either. So adding Parayko, adding that kind of impact, and adding that, flexibility on your back end, something that you haven't had in a long time, I think is really worth it. So if Parayko were to come to Winnipeg, I think I could overlook the contract problems, as, you're adding a legitimate top pairing defenseman to your team. And the last player that I'm going to be talking about from the Blues is forward Jordan Kyrou. Kyrou's played 56 games this season, scoring 23 goals, 21 assists, 444 points. He's been very good for St. Louis throughout his career. 60-70 point guy, can play center, can play the wing. He can really do it all for you. He's shifty, he's fast, he's, fairly big guy too, 6'1", almost 200 pounds. And at just 26 years old, he's a very big part of that St. Louis team. When I think about what the Winnipeg Jets need, I think of impact players. And that's why I'm not so big on Brayden Schenn. That's why I'm, a fan of adding Colton Parayko. But adding a Jordan Kyrou would be through the roof. That would be such an incredible add to this team. You add a young forward, with term. We'll talk about his contract, a little later here on in the video. But who is a star in his prime. That would be the ultimate add at this deadline for the Jets and going forward. That would, increase your window as well, more than likely, to next season and maybe even the year after to being cup contenders. This would be such a big get for Winnipeg. And, just to add a guy in his prime like that would be super incredible if he is being made available by the Blues. Now, I'm not necessarily sold on the fact that the Blues are selling him. I'm sure they're listening to offers as they are on other players, but I think it'd be really hard for them to separate from a guy like Kyrou, who's been a big part of their team, who's been a big player, unless they really get some insane offer. I just don't really see the Jets doing this, at least in season anyway, and I don't really know if the Blues would do it because of, being in division. I can see other guys doing it because they're lower caliber players, but guys like Kyrou, don't necessarily grow on trees, right? And you just signed him to an $8.1 million contract that he's on his second year of. That ends when he's 33. It's extremely team friendly considering the way that the cap is right now and the way the cap is going up. So Jordan Kyrou, only 26 years old, would be an incredible add for Winnipeg. However, I just don't know if it's going to be possible. And to boot, with his contract, he does have a no move clause until year 3, right? Through year 3. So Kyrou controls his destiny there. Even if Winnipeg was to give a big offer, or anybody, he would have to clear it first. And, given the track record of no trade clauses and no move clauses here, not so sure if that would necessarily work. But that's all I got today, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, as always. Let me know what you guys thought about the video and who you want the Jets to acquire, if anybody here from the list of Blues that I've talked about, or maybe somebody I missed. Want to hear from you guys down below. But leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Go Jets go! Bye-bye.